That's the way coming into the canyon. And but the 10.5 kilometer mark is where there is a split. So you stay to the left and you roll deeper into the canyon to the stone dwelling hike and the back ridge line, and then splitting up off to the right, goes up and around back side of the canyon towards the mountains, and this will take us to the ridge line above Ayn Arzooq. The road ends at 4.8 kilometers from the fork in the road at the bottom of the canyon, and it ends up on this plateau, and the path for the hike is clearly visible right across the valley. So I get to the beginning of it, just sort of walk to the edge, and you'll see the path right there in the grass. Just work your way down, obviously. You can see the path clearly. So it's a really nice hike in terms of, for the vast majority, visibility of the path and where you need to get to and where you are is absolutely clear. And it just keeps going. And the goal of this hike is to get almost to that big boulder right up there near the base of the mountains. That's kind of the goal in the end. The total distance of the hike from round trip is going to be about 7.2 kilometers, and the time anywhere from 2.5 hours to 3 hours, 3.5 depending on speed. And the total ascent is 500 meters. And of course, you're going to have to do that downhill to get all the way up and down the valleys to get back here. So this is the hike. The Ayn Arzooq on the left, Ayn Arzooq 2 on the right, and the ridgeline up the middle. A little too much sun in there, but that's the plateau right there where the hike begins. And it just comes down. And straight in front, path super clear. You can see it go right up over there, and it's going to just head right towards there. But from this point, we are right in between the Ayn Arzooq 1 and the Ayn Arzooq 2. Can't see the water of the spring right here. Now, both of these you can drive up to the bottom part. You can see the road just cutting through right there, and you park there. The hike is great, but there's a first part of the pool that you need to swim through to navigate, unless you're able to find that small little trail that comes along that side and hopefully follow it long enough. There's also some white scars in the rock right up there, where there's rebar in the rock face, and steps taken out for you to scale around another deep pool area. And you get past that, then that hike goes up into the valley towards the base of the mountains. It's a beautiful sight. Ayn Arzooq 2, the same thing. There's a road that comes into right about there, and then hiking through this area, but right past here you get to another pool area. That's a deep pool with smooth washed walls that sort of ends that hike. But it's possible to head up and over here and then drop down. So it's a beautiful spot to sort of get an idea of some future areas to explore. So the Ayn Arzooq and then Ayn Arzooq 2. And this hike is just going to go right in between those, along this ridge line above both of them, heading right towards the base of the mountains. So Ayn Arzooq 2, as you can see from on this side now, this is the open valley. It's a wonderful hike, and this is the way to enter it. So we get to this point, and there is a man-made path, switchback, carved into this side of the mountain that leads into that valley below. We're going to head off towards this area and work our way up into that little shaded peak is the goal to get to. That little small ridge beforehand, there's the path that cuts right past this first little peak. There's a little dip, the path goes in there and then shoots up to the one in the shade. And then from there, just roll over and then head back towards the mountains. This is the next one to get up and over or just around. On the left-hand side, there's a little path, a little goat path goes around. And of course, also on Ayn Arzooq 2 on this side, there's a little path that goes around. Personally, I've never gone left. I know the path can work because I can see it from the other side. But I just generally try and shoot zigzag and usually try and stay as close to the top areas, so I always have a visual. So next target, get up over this one, and there's another peak, and just keep heading basically north towards the mountain. One thing to mention before I forget, as you get deeper into this area, I have run into a puff adder a bit further back from here, and I've also run into a puff adder on the Ayn Arzooq 2 as you move back farther into the base of the mountains. So from this point, you got some grassy areas. We're going to get into some cover. This is the part to just pay close attention to your immediate environment around you. And of course, if you hear the sound of a hissing snake, that's kind of the key that you're a bit too close. So from this point, just sort of pay attention. I've only seen one, so it's not like there's going to be 1,000 of them, but just be careful. I'm very close to the end. It is about an hour and 15 minutes in, just over 3 kilometers. It's a nice hike. Beautiful path back into the mountains. About 275 meter ascent so far. Ayn Arzooq 2 on this side, we could just see where the spill off from the mountains and the rain and the desert flatlands and dunes up there, it runs down through here. Kind of the end of the hike-ish is kind of just over this ridge. There's probably a way to get a little bit further up, but those are some massive boulders. It's a fun hike to try and sort of jigsaw your way through all of it. You know you're near the end of this hike. There's this very distinct rock you can see from quite a distance, that orangish brown hole with what looks to be like the cap of it literally just fell off and is resting right there. It just fits right back in there. And the path at this point is again quite clear. It is used. There's animal droppings, and this path goes through this sort of rocky outcropping area. That's quite nice. And then right there is the base of the mountains. You can hike a little bit in, and there's a small path that will go off to your left that connects with this little small opening right here. So if you came to sit down someplace and relax with the view, back there really isn't a great view of the canyon, but if you go off to the left, you'll get off just this little side plateau that will look out over the entire southern side. So that was the last point right over there. Checked in. You just sort of wrap around it or over, or just gate your way in, and it opens up in this little flat plateau area. This is where I saw a puff adder right in this area, and I was here in summer, but midsummer Kharif, and visibility is meters. It's raining. The cloud and the fog were so dense that it's the condensation on the trees sounds like it is a downpour of rain, and it was completely covered in vegetation, trees, shrubs, everything, and it was thick. And so at that point, didn't even get past this area. It was just so dense. Now in December, in the dry season, everything is just, it's completely different. Like I've never seen it like this before. And you just keep walking back, and through the area, there's a sort of a path sort of appears, and it just sort of comes right here. And you're right open now, the base of the mountain. And this is the plateau on that left-hand side. Right here and right in front, even right here. Nice, beautiful spot to end the hike, take a break, refresh, rehydrate, get some food, just enjoy it. There were some fan-tailed crows, I believe, above me just a moment ago, making a lot of noise. I don't know where they went. Far off in the distance, far off in the distance, you can see the launching point for the hike. There's this just beautiful view